Adventure Land in Lenox, Alabama, October the 18th, 2023. Whack an Atheist. Tonight, Michael Shermer. I debated him once. I'll do it again anytime, Michael. He claims to be a skeptic. Michael, listen to me. You're not a skeptic. I'll show you tonight. Michael Shermer, okay? Started the Skeptic magazine. We're the folks who believe the Bible is true. God made everything in 6 days. Follow us on Rumble, on Genesis Baptist Church on YouTube, or on Odyssey, or a bunch of places on Dr.Dino.com. Let's see, the Bible says, be not deceived, be not deceived, don't be deceived. Some people are deceived into believing there is no God. Be not deceived, God is not mocked. Whatsoever man soweth, that shall he also reap. So, don't be deceived. We're in Lenox, Alabama, right off I-65, a couple miles off I-65, 70 miles dead north of Pensacola. And we believe the evolution religion is stupid, and it's a religion. It's not part of science, okay? Come visit, 140 acres. How'd you guys like the tour today? Love it. Yeah, great place to visit. God gets the glory for his creation, and a good place to take your honeymoon. Jude and Katie here visiting from Minnesota. Is this a little warmer than Minnesota? Oh, yeah. We get rain down here, but we don't have to shovel it. We like it. Yeah. Come on down. Stay here. Okay, hundreds of science lessons and spiritual lessons in our science center and in our tours around here. Tonight, Michael Shermer, the editor of Skeptic magazine. What's a skeptic? Skeptic, one who instinctively or habitually doubts, questions, or disagrees with assertions or generally accepted conclusions. Michael, you claim that evolution has been a generally accepted conclusion. Are you skeptical of that? No, you're not at all. I'll show you. You're not skeptical of evolution, are you, Michael? No, it's already confirmed in your mind. I know. One inclined to skepticism in religious matters. Michael Shermer, a couple months younger than me, American science writer, historian of science, executive director of the Skeptic Society, and founding publisher of Skeptic magazine. Whoa. Focusing on investigating pseudo-scientific and supernatural claims, except for evolution. They won't question that one. Let's see. Author of a dozen books, Shermer is known for engaging in debates on pseudoscience and religion, which he emphasizes scientific skepticism, unless it comes to evolution. Michael, I'm challenging you again to another debate, anytime. Your place, my place, pick a channel, okay? Let's see. Shermer was raised in a non-religious household before converting to Christian fundamentalism as a teenager. He stopped believing in God during grad school, influenced by a traumatic accident that left his then girlfriend paralyzed. I don't know the details there, but I'm sorry about that, okay? He identifies as an agnostic and an atheist, but prefers skeptic. He advocates for humanism, whatever that is, in favor of humans. Okay, Michael Shermer. I debated him once in front of a university. I don't remember where it was, but I'm going to play some of that and show you, Michael, listen, you're not a skeptic, okay? Here is the debate. Let me go over here on this one and hit play. And I'll have to interrupt him a few times, quite a few times, actually. Go ahead.
Dr. Shermer. How we doing? Wow. Hope the fire marshal's not here. Oh, man. I don't know. It's just sort of a psychic hunch I have. I got the feeling there's slightly more believers than non-believers here. I don't. Just a show of hands, how many of you believe in a God, a personal God, like the Judeo-Christian God? Okay, well, oh, look at the time. And I believe there was a Laker game on tonight. Was that last night? Well, I am Michael Shermer, the director of the Skeptic Society, the publisher of Skeptic magazine. We were handing out some literature earlier. If you didn't get any, we do have a table in the back. My associates, Matt and David, are back there. Happy to help you out there. I am really glad to see so many people. It's a beautiful night. You don't have to be here. You could be out enjoying the great outdoors, but we appreciate that. Obviously, there's great interest in the subject, a subject we deal a lot with at Skeptic. We deal with it because it's a hugely popular American subject. Only in America, with a few other scattered places and a tiny bit in New Zealand, is creationism even a subject of debate. But here it is.
Michael, you are confused or you're deliberately lying. Everybody around the world has discussions about this. Is there a creator or not? Maybe communist countries where they're not allowed to question the lack of a God, or maybe Muslim countries where they're not allowed to question Allah is God. But this is a great debate around the world, Michael. Don't say it only in America, trying to minimize the problem. No, you got a problem worldwide, you atheists and evolutionists do.
We are in America. This is a subject near and dear to many people's hearts, so we deal a lot with this. Basically, skepticism, science are the same. That is, a skeptic is not a position that you take. It's not a noun. I'm not a skeptic like I'm a thing. Oh, you're one of those skeptics. You don't believe anything. I believe lots of things, like, for example, evolution.
There's your mistake right there. You need to define what you mean by evolution, Michael. I cover it carefully in all my seminars. There are 6 different levels or stages to say you believe in evolution. Exactly what do you mean by that word? Do you mean dogs and foxes are related? Okay, or do you mean dogs and bananas are related? See, there's levels to evolution. We cover that in my seminar. I believe in microevolution. I think it's a lousy word and we shouldn't use it, but I believe there are variations within the kind. God designed the animals to bring forth after their kind, and some have long hair and can survive cold weather, and they like the cold weather better. Some have short hair and they like the hot weather better. They're still the same kind of animal, and it's just hair, and they already had hair. So that's not evolution. You guys call that microevolution. No, it's just a variation within the kind. God said 24 times in the first 7 chapters they'd bring forth after their kind. That's all they've ever done. You have no exceptions to that. So you need to define what you mean by evolution. You said you're a believer in evolution. I agree. You have to believe in it. You don't accept it. It's not science.
It's not a position that you take. It's just an approach to claims. For example, when I investigated the Holocaust deniers, they thought, well, we're skeptics. We're skeptic of the Holocaust, and he's a skeptic, so we have a brother in arms. But in fact, I ended up being skeptical of the skeptic. So skepticism.
Why don't you be skeptical of the Skeptic magazine that you publish? Are you skeptical of evolution? I'll show you you're not at all skeptical of that. You're skeptical of anybody who believes in God, but you're not skeptical of your own God, time, that can turn a frog to a prince, are you?
It's just an approach. You can be a skeptic of a claim. You can be a skeptic of the skeptics.
And I hope after tonight, Michael, you become a skeptic, a real one. Skeptical of the stupid claims of evolution that we all came from a rock. I'd like you to be skeptical of that, Michael.
What we're after here is to look for natural explanations for a phenomenon. For example, it's entirely possible that aliens landed on Farmer Bob's field in Pucker Brush, Kansas, and carved out skeptic.com as a promotional gimmick for our organization. However, I think it's more likely that we assume that this was created by Photoshop. That is, before we say something is out of this world, we have to first make sure that it's not in this world. So,
fair enough, and a good point. If I said, I want you to explain how this pencil formed without involving man, no human intelligence allowed. You can work and try and all you want, and how did this evolve? You're going to end up at a dead end. You're going to have to go back to say, well, it had to have a designer. Somebody designed it. I think if you look at all the evidence, you're going to have to say, well, the world is so complex. Every cell in your body more complex than a space shuttle. The DNA out of just one person's body, if you took it out of every cell, tied it together, stretched it out, it would go across the solar system twice. One person's DNA code. And you think that happened by chance? I think an intelligent person with a functioning brain cell would have to say, I don't think we can have an answer down here. There must be somebody outside of this earth that created all this, because it's too complex. I bet there's somebody outside the computer that created the computer. I don't think he's in there running around. I think he's outside. I think somebody outside of this, outside of time, space, and matter had to create time, space, matter. Genesis 1:1. Anyway, Michael, go ahead. Keep talking.
Oh, for example, it's possible that our governor was successful in his campaign because aliens backed him. And by the way, that's Danny DeVito as Cruz Bustamante, which I thought was very clever. I should know parenthetically, I've been tracking these alien images for about 20 years. This is the first alien I've ever seen that's been working out with biceps and triceps. Arnold's got the aliens pumping iron. And by the way, you don't mind the informality of it's a little warm in here, eh? A few bodies. So they got the air cranked up. If you're hot, I guess this is as good as it's going to get. So now when we talk about evolution creation, the first thing we need to decide, or that you need to decide if you're open to the question, which creationism are you going to embrace?
Well, maybe the first thing we need to decide is which evolution are you going to embrace? You're going to talk about cosmic evolution, the Big Bang, everything came from nothing. You can talk about chemical evolution, all the elements came from hydrogen gas. You can talk about organic evolution, that life got started from non-living material. You can talk about your stupid family tree where everything came from an amoeba. Which evolution? See, you're the ones that want to have everybody pay for your religion to be taught in the school. So the burden of proof's on you first. The first thing to discuss is not which creation are we discussing. The first thing is what's the meaning of evolution. But you want to bypass that. I understand why, too. Okay, go ahead.
Here's a useful continuum. I've been debating creationists for nearly 20 years.
And only debated me once and won't do it again. Come on, Michael, bring it on.
Of all stripes. There's flat earthers, geocentrists,
Oh, wait. Why are you including flat earthers with young earth creationists? I'm not a flat earther. I think this position is stupid. Okay, Kansas is flat, the rest of it's round. I've said that many times. I'm not a flat earther. Don't include them with us. And geocentrists, don't include that with me. Those have nothing to do with their position on young or old earth. Young earth creationism, I don't think the earth is young. I think it's 6,000 years old. That's a long time. It's hard to think about Columbus, find this place 500 years ago. 6,000 is a long time, Michael. Billions is fantasy world, but 6,000 is plenty of time for everything in that world to happen. You never watch my video series. You're going to include flat earthers and geocentrists. You're a lawyer, brother. What's this called when you try to include something stupid in with their position just to make them look bad, right? Straw man. Yeah, that's what you're doing here, Michael. Not a flat earther or a geocentrist.
Young earth creationists, old earth creationists, gap creationists, creationists that believe there was a gap between Genesis 1:1 and 1:2 to allow for geological time. Day-age creationism, that the days of Genesis represent geological epochs, therefore allowing for an old earth. Progressive creationism, evolutionary creationism, these are creationists who believe that God operates through the laws of nature.
I believe God operates through the laws of nature. I believe he made it real plain. The layers of the earth are not different ages. Michael, if I flip this over tonight and let it form a whole bunch of new layers, are the layers different ages? No. There's no such thing as a geologic column. We'll get into that in just a minute. You're not skeptical of that, though.
Theistic evolution, which is largely part of the intelligent design movement, and finally down to the end of just materialistic evolutionists. So you need to ask yourself, which one is Ken Hovind part of?
I'm the right one. Okay, I got it right. God made the world in 6 days. He wrote a book and told us how he did it. Real clear. He wrote it on a rock with his finger, 10 Commandments. In 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is. Couldn't be more plain than that. That's Ken Hovind's position.
Which creationism are you interested in hearing about? Which one will be presented tonight? There's a bunch of different ones, and they all have...
And a bunch of different evolution ones, okay? Do you want to hear about microevolution, that dogs and wolves are related? Or do you want to hear dogs and bananas are related? Or is that the secret that you don't tell till the very end when you get the students hooked in?
Different arguments. And interestingly, they disagree amongst themselves. You can go to, for example, Answers in Genesis, which is a very conservative Christian creationist organization that disagrees with most of what my debate opponent will say tonight. So,
no, Michael, you're either stupid or lying. Neither one of those is true. I agree with them on nearly everything. There are a few little theological differences. He's a Calvinist, and he doesn't use the King James Bible, which leads to numerous problems. But I support him. I send people there. I tell people, go get him. I sell his material. What do you mean they disagree with everything about me? Don't say that, Michael. You don't know what you're talking about. We would both agree the earth is 6,000 years old. God made it in 6 days. There was a worldwide flood. Noah had dinosaurs on the ark. We would agree on just about everything. Don't say we disagree on just a few minor things. And on those, they're wrong and I'm right. Okay?
There's great diversity here. You have to choose, pick and choose, and read and figure out which part of the creationism you want to embrace, if at all. Now, first of all, we have to recognize that, in fact, most people embrace evolution. 96.
Embrace evolution. What does that mean? Look at that. 96 million Americans accept evolution. They always slip in that word accept. Look at me, Michael. You don't accept evolution. You have to believe in evolution. Replace that word with the word believe. You're right. A lot of people believe in evolution, but you can only accept something that is proven to be true. Nobody has ever seen a cow produce a non-cow or a dog produce a non-dog. You have lines on paper connecting them, but that's not science. You don't accept evolution. You believe in evolution. And you poor students have to go to school and have teachers teach you this kind of stuff. Always object to that. Teacher, excuse me, can we replace that word accept with believe? Because that's really what you have to do. And if you want to believe it, that's fine. I don't care what you believe, but don't call it science and don't tell people you accept it. You believe it.
Million American Christians accept evolution. And a
There you are again. You believe in it.
2001 Gallup poll, 37% of all Americans agreed with the statement that human beings developed over millions of years from less advanced forms of life, and that God guided the process.
Well, that would be a retarded God that can't make it right first time. My God made it right first time. Made Adam out of the dust, made Eve out of his rib. First day, fully formed, normal humans, and not at all have to evolve from an ape-like creature or an amoeba. So that if the 37% of Americans believe that, I don't know that that's true, but if it is, I just got a mission field, don't I? I got a lot of work to do. No problem. Doesn't mean it's true, does it? Michael, does majority opinion mean true? Hey, tell you what, go to Gaza Strip, where all the Palestinians believe they were supposed to kill all the Jews. Does that make it true because they all believe the same thing? Majority. Why don't you go to Adolf Hitler and say, look, 55 million Germans believe we should exterminate the Jews, therefore it's got to be true. I tell you, why don't you go to Iraq or Iran, see what they all believe in that country. Does that make it true, majority opinion? Come on, Michael. Why don't you be skeptical of that?
Since 90% of Americans roughly are Christians, that means 96 million American Christians believe in evolution.
You got it right. Believe, finally. Thank you, Michael.
Now, it's not that that makes it right, but that at least if you're a Christian who wonders whether it's okay to accept the theory of evolution, obviously.
Now, you slipped it in again, Michael. You don't accept evolution. You have to believe in it.
It's quite okay. In fact, a billion Catholics, who are sometimes skeptics, accept evolution. The Pope.
No, the Pope may have said that. I don't know who put the title on there, but the quote mark starts after that. Do the Catholic? No, they don't. The Catholics have to believe. I would disagree with the Catholics on a lot of things. Okay, so if they accept evolution or believe in evolution, either one, I don't care. They're wrong. Okay.
Himself, John Paul II, in 1996 encyclical said, "New knowledge has led to the recognition that the theory of evolution is more than a hypothesis."
Well, tell the Pope to call me and I'll straighten him out. Okay, he's wrong.
It is indeed remarkable that this theory has been progressively accepted by researchers.
It is remarkable that researchers would believe something so stupid. That is remarkable. They believe they came from a rock 4.6 billion years ago. That is stupid. It's remarkable. Anybody dumb enough to believe this whole evolution religion, I agree. That's remarkable.
In a series of discoveries in various fields of knowledge.
Okay, what are some of those discoveries that have lead you to believe you're related to a frog? Where has any farmer ever seen any animal produce or plant produce something other than its kind? Show me the evidence. Don't tell me it's a fossil from long ago and far away. That's not evidence. Where's the evidence of it happening today? Show it to me. There isn't any. No farmer in the history of the world has ever seen his cow produce a non-cow or his corn produce non-corn. It just does. It's imagination. It's a belief. It's a religion.
The convergence, this is an important statement, the convergence, neither sought nor fabricated. This isn't a conspiracy on the part of scientists. It just happened this way. Of the results of work that was conducted independently is in itself a significant argument in favor of the theory.
So the fact that geologists and biologists and anthropologists all converge on this same idea means it must be true. Why don't you go to Iraq and see if all the people there from different fields have converged on the same idea that Allah is God and Muhammad was his prophet. I bet they've all come to that same conclusion. You know why? What happens if you don't? I bet if somebody did not agree with the theory of evolution, they wouldn't get published in peer-reviewed magazines and they couldn't get a job at a university. Could they, Michael, where you teach? Could they get a job where you teach? Can I come get a job and teach creation at your university? Huh? Come on.
I'm going to play this up quite a bit tonight. This convergence from independent lines of inquiry, independent of each other. These guys aren't meeting on the weekends to say, look, we got to get our story straight because that Ken Hovind's out there, stumping the debate circuit.
I do strike fear into the hearts of you guys, don't I, Michael? It's okay. I'm a nice guy, aren't I? Yeah. I just pick on you guys because you believe something stupid. That's all. Real dumb, real dumb.
It arrived at it independently. The Pope, by the way, in 96 is responding to an earlier cyclical in the 1950s in which that Pope said, it's possible evolution may be true. We should be open to science and not just reject it. And this Pope said,
oh, well, tell both popes they're wrong. Okay? Both of them are.
It is indeed true. In fact, even our ex-president Jimmy Carter, an evangelical Christian, calls himself a born-again Christian. When a couple months ago, the state of Georgia required that biology textbooks in public high schools have a little sticker in them warning the students about evolution.
Okay. I have put up seminar part 4, brother. Lies in the textbooks. I have encouraged people for decades, put a sticker in your textbook that says, warning, there are some lies in here that have been proven wrong. I've said all along, don't mention creation, don't mention evolution. I'm not trying to get God in the schools. I'm not trying to get evolution out of the schools. I'm trying to get lies out of the schools. And if you're still teaching the students, like my video number 4 covers a lot of these lies in the textbook, get the whole series for $50. If you're still teaching the students that part of your evidence for evolution is the embryo in the mother having gill slits, proven wrong in 1874, yes, that should be removed from the textbook. And to put a sticker in there that says the information on page 87 about the gill slits is wrong, tear that page out. That's not trying to get God in the schools. It's trying to get a textbook that teaches honest science. I love science. Teach science in science class. Quit including your dumb religion of evolution in with science. You're polluting the book, Michael.
As a Christian, President Carter said, a trained engineer and a scientist and a professor at Emory University, I'm embarrassed by
I did a debate at Embry-Riddle University where he went, three against me. One of them said, where did God come from? My 2-minute answer, somebody told me, now has 900 million views and climbing. Watch that 2-minute answer. Where did God come from? I'll go to Emory and take on the whole staff at the same time. All of them. If they believe in evolution, I want them to go first. What's the evidence for evolution? Give me the best one. They go first. Whatever time they get, I get equal time, no interrupting. 50 against 1. I'll take them all on. Oh, Carter, same thing. Take them all on. He's wrong. He got brainwashed.
Superintendent Kathy Cox's attempts to censor and distort the education of Georgia's students.
Wait. She wasn't trying to censor and distort the education. She's trying to get accuracy in the textbooks. Don't teach the kids we know we came from an amoeba. You don't know any such thing. That's not science. You've included these charts with family trees as part of their religious belief. They've included that in a science book. It doesn't belong in a science book. It belongs in a fairy tale book. So I don't know exactly what the sticker was in Georgia, but they should be trying to get to accuracy in textbooks. Don't teach lies. You shouldn't teach the geologic column. You don't know that the layers are different ages. You shouldn't teach them there's a fossil record. There's no fossil record. There's fossils. You shouldn't teach them it's a record. None of them talk. We'll get into more of that in a minute. Okay, let's finish up what he says here.
The existing and long-standing use of the word evolution in our state's textbook has not adversely affected Georgians' belief.
Now, how does he know that? I think the teaching of this stupid evolution affects a lot of students' belief. It affected yours, Michael. You claimed you're a fundamental Christian as a teenager, went off to university and lost your faith, didn't you? And now you teach a class purposely to destroy the faith of everybody coming through your class, don't you, Michael? I'll come to your class. Why don't you debate me in front of your class? I'll fly out, pay my own way. I'll fly out there, take you on, to teach your class the truth. There is no evidence for evolution.
In the omnipotence of God as creator of the universe. There can be no incompatibility between Christian faith and proven facts concerning geology.
I agree. There is no incompatibility. All the layers of the earth, all the geology we see happened because of Noah's flood. There's nothing incompatible about Christianity and geology. I taught earth science 15 years. I'll debate all you atheists and earth scientists. The flood made those layers. You think Grand Canyon was made slowly over millions of years? The top is 8,000-foot elevation. The river enters at 2,800 feet. Rivers don't flow uphill. Grand Canyon formed when a lake overflowed and carved that canyon probably in a couple of weeks, not millions of years, that's for sure. Yeah, there's no conflict between Christianity and geology. I like geology. Evolution has nothing to do with it.
Biology and
same thing with biology. I like biology. I'll take a quiz on that if you'd like. I can name most of the muscles and bones in the body and the functions and the nerves and tendons. I can't name them all. Gee whiz, there's 10 billion of those. But I taught anatomy and biology. I'm pretty knowledgeable about that. And there's nothing that conflicts with Christianity and biology. Matter of fact, I think it supports the idea. We're incredibly made. I will praise thee. I'm fearfully and wonderfully made, the psalmist said. I agree with that. When you study the body and how the muscles and bones and everything work, you ought to say, man, this is an amazing machine. Yeah, not just, oh, wow, it happened by chance.
There's no need to teach that the stars can fall out of the sky and land on a flat earth in order to defend our religious faith.
There's another straw man. I don't believe the earth is flat. I don't think the stars fall down and land on a flat earth. What does that have to do with the topic here tonight?
Okay. The problem with all creationist argument, and this is probably the most important slide I'll put up tonight, is that it is nothing more than a God of the gaps argument. That is, wherever there's a gap that scientists seemingly can't explain, or if you can find a quote where it makes it sound like they seemingly can't explain, that must mean that's where the miracle happened. That's where God intervened. Or if you're an intelligent design creationist, you don't use the word God, you use the word id, intelligent designer. Whatever you want to call it, that's where the miracle intervened. It reminds me of Sidney Harris's famous cartoon, my favorite, where the one scientist writes up there in the step 2, then a miracle occurs, and he says, I think you should be more explicit here in step 2. I can't emphasize enough how important this point.
Well, then, if it's an important point, Michael, look at me. How did life get started? Where did matter come from? You have a miracle happens there, don't you, where everything fit into a dot smaller than a proton? I'll tell you what, I'll give you $1,000 if you can squeeze a cup of water into a dot smaller than a proton, let alone the whole Pacific Ocean and all the planets and all the stars. You think that dot, smaller than a proton, contained all the energy in the universe, not just the matter, all the energy. What's the total energy of all the star output every day? Combine all that, go back for billions of years, put it all in a dot, see how hot that thing is. You really believe that? You're insane, certifiably insane to believe such a thing.
This is the central point, that to simply say, look, I don't think you guys can explain this problem, whatever it is.
Right. I don't think you can explain the origin of time, space, matter, life, animals changing to different kinds. You can't explain that. I've done a whole series every Friday night now for 42 Fridays at making babies. Why don't you take it on, Michael? Explain how any of the creatures or plants I've talked about, how this process of how they make babies, how that evolved. I challenge you. Pick any one. How did the octopus make babies? How did it evolve, that process? Or pick any one, the porcupine. Look at them. How did that evolve? You guys are avoiding that like the plague. You can't explain it. Now, I agree. I have to say a miracle took place and God created the universe. But see, I admit mine's a religion. You don't admit yours is a religion. You think it's part of science. The Big Bang, the origin of life, all the planets created from a dot. You believe that's science, don't you? No, it's a miracle. You're the one with the God of the gaps, Michael.
Therefore, that's where a miracle happened. God did it. It did it. Even if that's the case, it doesn't explain anything. It just says, poof, a miracle happened. We'll just put a filler here, a word filler. We'll say, God did it, miracle did it, whatever. It doesn't explain anything. Even if Kent Hovind won every single debate he ever did, even if every scientist in America said, you know what, I think God designed the whole thing, and I think biology proves it, it wouldn't change anything with the way science is done.
I'm not against science, Michael. The word science comes from the Latin word "scire," which means to know. What do we know? We know dogs produce dogs. Now that we know. We've seen it happen a bunch of times. We do not know dogs came from an amoeba. You don't know that. You might believe that, but you can't know such a thing as that, okay?
Because this has nothing to do with science. Science is the search for how that happened. What happened in step 2? If it did it, don't you want to know how it did it? If God did it, don't you want to know?
I'm willing to study and learn about anything. I think the evidence is overwhelming that looks like a flood made all this geology we see. Are you skeptical of the evolution theory of how the layers got there, Michael? No, you're not.
How she did it? For example, we know evolution is a fairly simple thing. It's a pattern of descent with modification. Whatever.
If that's all you mean, then dogs and wolves and coyotes might have had a common ancestor. But you want to show your students something like this and then make the mental jump to say, wow, coyotes and bananas and pine trees have a common ancestor. That's where you guys go stark raving mad. I'll tell you what, for sake of time, I'm going to stop at the 11-minute mark. This goes for 2 hours and 12 minutes. Watch the whole debate. You know what number that is in our series? Me and Michael Shermer? I've got so many debates on DVD, I've done 336 of them now. Let me go back to my regular PowerPoint slides here. Right here. Oh. It confuses me every time, brother. Okay. All right. Michael, are you skeptical of the claim that all the matter and energy in the universe came from a dot smaller than a proton? Are you skeptical of that? That's what they teach in the textbooks. I know you're skeptical that God did it. I understand. That's fine. Be skeptical of that. Are you skeptical of this? You're not a skeptic. You're a religious zealot, defending your religion of evolution. You're not skeptical of the stupid claim that all the matter and energy in the universe came from a dot smaller than a proton. That is what they believe. You just believe it. It's the foundation of your religion. Are you skeptical of the claim that life started in prebiotic soup deep in the ocean? That's what they claim, Michael. Are you even skeptical of that at all? Come on now. You ever really analyze that claim? Just how life gets started. There's no such thing as a simple life form. When somebody says we started as a simple life form, you ought to be skeptical of that, Michael. There is no such thing as a simple life form. I don't think there's any such thing as a simple automobile, is there? If it's able to drive and move and steer, it's complex. Michael, would you come on the Joe Rogan show with me and defend your evolution religion? I'll challenge you. I'll pay my way. Okay? I don't think you will. Come on the Joe Rogan show and defend your evolution. See, you and Joe Rogan get on there and talk about evolution being true because nobody's on there countering you. Nobody's there to set you straight and to show you when you lie and stretch the truth and exaggerate. Oh, come on. Are you skeptical of these family trees in our children's textbooks, Michael? Does it ever make you wonder why no animal today can produce babies other than their kind? They can't do it. But yet they got the human and the bird and the ladybug and the pine tree having a common ancestor. Are you skeptical of that? Do you think you're related to a ladybug, Michael? Where's the evidence of any animal ever producing something other than its kind? You have no evidence for these family trees. All they've done is draw lines on paper. That's not science. I bet I could put a picture of a car and a frog and draw a line between them. And oh, there's the proof. They're related. Oh, that's all they did. They put lines on paper. This is dumb, real dumb. Tell them I said so. You're not skeptical of the stupid claim that all the matter and energy in the universe came from a dot smaller than a proton. You're not skeptical of that. No, Michael, you're not skeptical of the stupid claim that life started in soup. You're not skeptical of the stupid claim that layers of rock are different ages. Stop and think, Michael. In 1830, they started teaching the kids these layers of the earth are different ages. Have you been skeptical of that? They say the top Holocene layer is 10,000 years old. Okay. Wow, and the Archean is 2.5 billion years old. I have a simple question, Michael. You're a trained scientist with a doctor's degree. The Holocene material, where was it sitting around for 2.49999 billion years, waiting to land on top? Where was all that dirt? They're claiming the layers are different ages. I just have a simple question. Where was all this dirt sitting? Did it come from outer space? Are layers being added from space? Is that where all this geologic column came from? You claim the Jurassic age is what, 1.99 billion years old? Or million years old? Okay. Where was it sitting? After the Proterozoic era, where was all that dirt? Where were all those dinosaur bones? Well, they have to be coming from outer space because you're claiming they're a different age. Come on now. You be skeptical, Michael. I'm trying to help you. Where's all this new material coming from to make these new layers? Outer space? Intelligent layman has long suspected circular reasoning in the use of rock to date fossils and fossils to date rocks. Take a fossil to a university and say, how old is this? First question they ask, where'd you find it? What difference does that make? Well, we're going to date the fossil by what layer it came from. Oh, you go back to the geologic column. Did you find it in the Jurassic? Well, then it's between 145 million and 199 million years old. This is how they bracket it. The fossils are dated by the rock layer they're found in, geologic column. Intelligent layman has suspected circular reasoning. They use rocks to date fossils and fossils to date rocks. Circular reasoning. The geologist has never bothered to think of a good reply. feeling the explanations are not worth the trouble as long as the work brings results. It cannot be denied from a strictly philosophical standpoint. Geologists are arguing in a circle. The succession of organisms has been determined by a study of their remains embedded in the rocks, and the relative ages of the rocks is determined by the organisms. I tell you what, if you found a dinosaur bone and took it to a university and showed them where you found it, they would classify that layer as Jurassic. Doesn't matter if it is or not. There's no such thing as Jurassic. They would say, oh, that's the Jurassic. How do you know that? Well, it had a dinosaur bone in it. Why do you know the dinosaur bones from the Jurassic era? Well, that's the only place they're found. Oh, they date the fossils by the layers and the layers by the fossils. It's circular reasoning and it's stupid. Are you skeptical of the stupid geologic column, Michael? Ever since William Smith, he said fossils have been and still are the best and most accurate method of dating and correlating the rocks in which they occur. Michael, are you skeptical of the claims that the fossils are a record? I mean, when you find a fossil in the dirt, you should notice a couple things right away. You should notice it doesn't talk, and it doesn't have a date stamped on it. This would be dated by the layer it came from, and the layer would be dated by the types of fossils it contains. So it's all based on the assumption that evolution is true. Your Honor, I move for a dismissal of this case. There is no evidence for evolution. None. You have to believe in it. You're not skeptical of that, are you? You're not a skeptic at all. You're a religious zealot, Michael. Okay? Michael, you're getting older. You will die one day. You're a couple months younger than me. Are you skeptical of the idea the universe had no creator? Are you willing to be skeptical of that? Or would you lose your readership for your magazine and your income? Are you skeptical of the idea that there's no judgment? See, you believe you just die and go back to dirt. Have you been skeptical of that idea, Michael? Are you skeptical of the idea that there's no heaven or hell? Are you sure? Are you willing to be skeptical of your own belief? Are you willing to be skeptical of evolution religion? There's a bunch of people in the Hamas over there. They're not willing to even think maybe we're wrong. They are committed, very committed to their cause, willing to die for it. And they're going to do it too. They're going to die for it. Okay? You're a religious zealot for evolution, Michael. That's all you are. You're not a skeptic. Change the name of your magazine. You're not a skeptic. You're a fool, according to Psalm 14:1 and Psalm 53, for not believing in God. You're not a skeptic. You're afraid to face me in another debate, aren't you, Michael? Come on, bring it on. Hey, I don't even have an accredited degree. I should be easy picking. Bring it on. Come on. We can do it on Joe Rogan's show. By the way, I would like all the listeners, all of you, call Joe Rogan's show and say, would you have Kent Hovind come on your show and debate Michael Shermer? Would that be a neutral platform? You go first, Michael. I want the evidence for evolution. Where's the evidence? What do you have? I will counter it and show everybody in that audience there isn't any evidence. And you're a religious zealot for evolution. You're not a scientist when it comes to that theory. Would you go on Standing for Truth, my channel, your channel? Would you let me come to the college you teach at and teach in front of your students? I'll debate you in front of your students. I'll pay my way out there tomorrow. Come on. Bring it on, Michael. You're not a skeptic. If you have one functioning brain cell, you know there's a creator. Why don't you call me, 855-BIG-DINO, extension 3. I take calls all day long and half the night. Schedule a debate or to discuss your soul if you'd like. If you call me and say, listen, Kent, can we talk off the record? Sure. Kent, will you not tell anybody I called? Well, not until you approve it. I will honor that, Michael. I will show you. I'll bring you back to your fundamental Christian roots if you'd like. This book is correct. It has never been proven wrong. It doesn't mean everything's been proven right. That's why it's a religious belief I have. I believe God made the world in 6 days. I can't prove that scientifically, and you can't prove evolution or Big Bang. So why are we all paying for your religion to be taught in the schools, huh? Come on. Call me, 855-BIG-DINO, extension 3. And if you say, Kent, can we please keep this off the record? I won't tell anybody until you give me permission. Michael, you are in trouble when you face God. You should change the name of your magazine. It's not Skeptic Magazine, Michael. Skeptic, of all religions, except our own religion of evolution. That would be a better title for it. They've got to change the name. Okay, question. Oh, I got to hang on, 219. Wait a second. 219. Did I get it? Yep. Let them alone. They're blind leaders of the blind. The blind lead the blind, both fall into the ditch. Beware lest any man spoil you through Skeptic Magazine. Through philosophy and vain deceit after the tradition of the world. Don't be spoiled by these guys, kids. If these professors like Michael Shermer are destroying your faith, call me anytime. I'll answer any questions you got. 855-BIG-DINO. Watch my video series. It'll really help. Okay? If you disagree with something, call me. Let me defend myself. We have comments on comments tomorrow night. Send it in. I'm not afraid of any comments or questions. Let's see. God is not a man that he should lie. It's appointed unto man once to die. After this, the judgment. No, Michael, you're not a skeptic. You know there's a creator, don't you? And you know you're going to face him pretty soon. Michael, listen, look at me. You live in California. Have you seen the way they drive out there? You could die tomorrow. And you know that. So could I. Where are you going? Famous atheist last words before death. We've got a bunch of these here. Thomas Paine, leading atheist writer in American colonies. Stay with me, for God's sake. I cannot bear to be left alone. Oh, Lord, help me. Oh, God, what have I done to suffer so much? What will become of me hereafter? I would give worlds if I had them that the age of reason had not been published, never been published. Oh, Lord, help me. Christ, help me. No, don't leave. Stay with me. Send even a child to stay with me, for I'm on the edge of hell here alone. If ever the devil had an agent, I have been that one. And Michael, you are the agent of the devil with your magazine and teaching your class at the college there on how to be skeptical. You don't teach them how to be skeptical of evolution, do you, Michael? No, you're a hypocrite. Let's see. He said to his nurse said, for all the money of Europe, I wouldn't want to see another unbeliever die. All night long he cried for forgiveness. That's Voltaire. David Hume, Napoleon Bonaparte. We got a whole bunch of quotes, these atheists. Head of an English atheist club gathered around his deathbed. He said, you need not tell me there's no God. I know there's one, and I am in his presence. You need not tell me there's no hell. I feel myself already slipping. Wretches, cease your idle talk about there being hope for me. I know I am lost forever. Oh, that fire. Oh, the insufferable pangs of hell. Oh, that I could lie for 1,000 years upon the fire that is never quenched to purchase the favor of God and be united to him again. But it's a fruitless wish. Millions and millions of years will bring me no nearer the end of my torments than one poor hour. Oh, eternity, eternity, forever and forever. Oh, the insufferable pangs of hell. Now, somebody's going to pick and say, well, we don't know that guy said that. Okay. Maybe none of these quotes are correct. You're missing the point. There's a heaven and there's a hell. The devil's a liar, and he's lied to you, Michael, and you believed it. I'm sorry about the accident that left the girl paralyzed. I'm sorry about that, okay? We all have tragedy in life. You don't blame God for that. Hope of eternal life, which God that cannot lie promised before the world began. Whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. See, God said, don't bear false witness. Don't steal. Don't lie. Don't commit adultery. You've broken some of these commandments, Michael. So have I. Where are you going? You're going to stand before God and say, well, I was pretty good. He's going to call up the record. He's got a real accurate record. Every word you've ever said, he's got it. All the students you destroyed their faith, he's got a list of them. All the lives you destroyed because of your stupid class on skepticism. We'll see. If you died today, where would you go? Smoking or non-smoking? You're going to be dead for a long time. Michael, might be this year. I don't know. It's going to be a tombstone with your name on it. A little bitty dash between two dates. Your first one's what, 1954, right after me? I don't know what the next one's going to be on your tombstone. Both of us could have one 2023 written on it. What are you doing? You're using your life to destroy people's faith in the Bible. And maybe you think you're right. I'll debate you on that. Bring it on. What are you doing, for heaven's sake? Everybody ought to find something to do for the Lord. Okay. Questions and comments? What do we got here? And by the way, all of you call Joe Rogan show. Say, Michael's been on there a bunch of times. Have me on there with him and to counter the stupidity that he shares. I'll take them all on. Okay? Please, everybody call them and let me know what they say. Blessings from New York. Do you believe Ezekiel 38, Daniel 11 are parallel passages of the Islamic Empire? Probably so. Boy, you can get into a really complex system there. You talk about Isaiah 14, Ezekiel 38. I don't have it all clear in my mind. I've worked and worked and worked, and I've decided I'm just going to have to let God sort that out. I'm going to win souls and try to influence people for him and let God take care of all that stuff. We shall see. Okay? Carmen, every time I get happy Doc Hovind is winning a debate, I then get sad for the lost soul on the other side. Thank you. Me too. I feel bad for these guys. But I have to hammer them sweetly and kindly and rapidly in Christian love because they're destroying the faith of the students. You got to make them look stupid because it is stupid, and they're religious zealots. They're not scientists. Okay? So I whack them sweetly in Christian love. Okay? Meteor rock crater in Arizona. Is that a geyser? No, I think it's a meteor crater. I think it got hit by something pretty big. It wouldn't take a big rock to make a hole that big. I mean, shoot a small bullet into the mud. A little 45 caliber bullet this big around will make a hole this big in the mud, depending upon a lot of factors. Okay, how much mud is there? How much water is there? The speed of the bullet? How far has it traveled? Et cetera, et cetera. I don't know. I think a rock the size of maybe this building could have hit the Behringer, made the Behringer crater, and made it, what is it, half-mile wide? Yeah. Okay. Anyway, don't know. I don't think it's a geyser, though. No. Thoughts on your recent bombing at the hospital being bombed by Israel? Israel didn't bomb that. It was a rocket that failed. 30% of all the Muslim rockets are failing and falling in their own territory. Then they want to blame the Jews for it. They got video of the rockets going up and failing, going off. They're guided rockets, little computers, and there's all kinds of problems with them. And a lot of them are failing and ending up bombing their own people. And then they want to blame Israel for that? First of all, Israel started Hamas started this whole war. They went in uninvited into a neighbor's. If somebody came into your house, killed your children, and then left, I think you'd want to go to his house and burn it down or bulldoze it down and shoot them all, wouldn't you? They're just defending themselves. They got attacked first. I think they've been very patient. These crazy Hamas cowards are keeping the civilians there as shields, so Israel won't invade. They hide in tunnels. They hide behind a mask. They hide behind civilians. Look, why don't you man up and go fight them? You want to fight the Israelis? Take your mask off and go fight them. And quit hiding behind this. Let the civilians leave if they want to leave. They should. They're blocking the way so they can't leave because that's their shield, so Israel doesn't attack them. I think the whole thing is cowardice. They claim to be real brave. Yeah, when you got a gun in your hand and hiding behind a civilian. Anyway, don't get me started on that. Okay. If they bombed their own hospital accidentally, probably. Okay. I apologize. I need this question answered. Does not Matthew 7 debunk once saved, always saved? What's your thoughts, sir? Matthew 7:21. Let's see. You got it up there? Saying to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name? Thy name didn't. He's going to say, no, read the rest of the passage. He's going to say, I never knew you. They didn't lose their salvation. They were never saved. A lot of people think they're saved and are not. And he's going to say, I never knew you. They were never saved. They didn't lose the salvation. They never had it. Okay? If we evolved from apes, why are there still apes? Did only half of us evolve? Well, your premise is wrong. We didn't evolve from apes. No, but nothing evolves from anything. Apes make baby apes every time. Chimpanzees make baby chimpanzees every time. I mean, there are no exceptions. Humans make baby humans. Some of them act like apes, but they're still human, okay? So no. So there is no evolution, okay? Mick, why would God create such a vast universe filled with multiple galaxies and planets if Earth is so important? I think it's for the oh wow factor. Why do car manufacturers put chrome on their car? Does it make it go faster? It's for the oh wow, look at that cool car. I think when you step outside and look at the galaxies and say, oh wow, what a mighty God we serve. It didn't cost him anything. He owns everything. God can make everything. It doesn't cost him nothing. He can make it out of nothing. So I think it's just for the oh wow factor. So we can say, man, what a mighty God we serve. Okay, I love listening to you. I have some questions. Into what study guides would you recommend? I can break down some Bible verses. Okay, Rich, there are quite a few people, thousands down through history, who have written commentaries on the Bible. Okay, I like Matthew Henry commentary from the 1700s. Just type in Matthew Henry commentary and look up the verse, and you have his comments on it. We sell the Defender's Study Bible. This is not it. It's up there on my shelf. It's like $100, isn't it? It's expensive, but it's Henry Morris's footnotes at the bottom. It's a King James Bible with all of his footnotes at the bottom. I started off with a Schofield reference edition, which is pretty good on most things. I disagree a few things, but Schofield, C.I. Schofield did a study Bible years ago, back, I don't know, 19-something, 09 maybe, and I've used it for years. I now have to disagree with some of his notes, but man, you got to learn early in life to eat the meat, spit out the bones, okay, or you'll choke on something. So I would say look at a variety of authors and people who they've already studied this and get their opinion. By the time you look at 5 or 6 different opinions, you're going to say, I think they all this is right. I think you'll come to the truth, okay? Let's see. Scriptures and stones. Would you consider yourself a presuppositionalist, supporting the philosophical, theological thoughts of Van Til? You'd have to be more specific. I need it. That's a pretty generic. I'd have to know exactly which thoughts you're talking about. I believe the Bible is true. I believe God formed the world in 6 days. I believe he preserved his word for us in the King James. So I'll tell you what I do believe, but I need a more specific question than that. Okay, thank you so much. Michael, you are not a skeptic. Call me for a debate, please. Everybody, call Joe Rogan Show. Have me on there to debate Michael.